Last time on Reckless Attack.
Kaskrin and Valeska head back to the caravan and are introduced to another guild, willing to help them in their fight against the poisonous Grung. Meanwhile, Checkers and Selv struggle to work together as their hiding spot is discovered by a pair of unlikely visitors. Find out what happens this week on Reckless Attack.
Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Reckless Attack. I went musical that time.
I like
we had to re-record the intro, so, I got to jazz it up a little bit. But hey, we are a Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, not addiction, but, hey, some of us in our dice, am I right? We're a 5th edition actual play podcast. My name is Nathan. I am your Dungeon Master this evening, or whenever you're listening to it, it's evening for us. And I have a lot to say this evening about a whole lot of different things. But first, I'd really love to introduce you all to my lovely, beautiful, powerful players who are seated around the table with me here this evening. Across from me, good sir.
Hello, everyone. Hi, my name is David, and I play Kaskrin Brightmane, the Dwarven Morlock, who is today talking with, I think, his first interaction with another guild. So we'll see how that goes.
And next to him is Valeska Carter, played by me, Sophie Hansen.
Hi, Sophie Hansen.
Hi. Val is a human asterisk cleric of the Arcana domain. And she and Kass get to do talking while Selv and Checkers.
We have to do all the boring stuff.
Because we're the responsible adult. Ugh. No, okay. We left the other responsible adult.
Yes. Yep. Good way to put it.
With Checkers.
Yeah, I know. I have to keep everything in check. Selv is just really, out of control.
Sorry. I have no control over him either. Which brings us to me, I guess. Hello, everyone. My name is Steve. I am playing Sylvesterlin, the monk. And this episode, I believe he's going to continue to take advantage of his owlbear distraction that Checkers was kind enough to get going, and hopefully keep everybody out of trouble while letting the owlbears take care of most of what's going on over there.
Now, to clarify, you might know it's an owlbear, but Selv does not.
That is true.
I was re-listening to the episode today. You really biffed that check, so...
All right, in that case... The owl that is the size of a bear distraction that is happening.
Described as bear-like.
A bear-like owl, yes.
And bird-like.
So hopefully this bear owl is able to distract everybody or distract the grungs, and we can come in for some cleanup, which leads us to our last player at the table.
Excellent. Hi, everyone. My name is Jonathan, and I play Checkers, the Grung druid, and his trusty frog pal, Mango. Checkers has been sitting around for the better part of an hour now, and he is just vibrating with nervous energy at the thought of doing something cool and interesting.
I will say, you did declare last time that Checkers would steal some fruit, and that did not happen.
It hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, this is all, essentially, our session was all of 30 minutes in-game time,
right.
I think.
There's
maybe tops.
Plenty of opportunities at this point, and Checkers cannot be contained, so...
So, I don't want to go too deep into any sort of recap stuff. And instead, I'd just like to talk about me preparing for the evening. We had a couple weeks off, and I took some nice time, got to take some deep breaths, just relax, try to only pursue the fun things when it came to DMing and world building and ideating and that kind of stuff. And then, about a little over a week ago, I was like, okay, buckle in. We got some stuff going on. We got a session Monday. Let's get ready. I just sat at a Google document for some time in nothing, just nothing. And I very quickly realized that the reason for that was because this was one of the first real great examples of a particular type of DMing or a moment in DMing maybe, where you present your players with a situation. Here's all the details. Here's all the variables. And then you just say, yeah, I don't know how you're going to do it either. Good luck, guys. And that's kind of all you can do. And that is what this session is. We talked just a little bit, and I kind of specifically asked, hey, be sure you have some ideas of what you might do going in Monday. And I got a couple thrown my way. I saw a couple kind of thrown back and forth, but we haven't decided on anything. So it's kind of a nice time and a thrilling time and also a terrible time to be a DM, because I just have to sit back and pray that I can keep up with the insanity of my players. So back at the caravan, Kass and Val touch base with the with the caravan leaders, Brannar and Granick, Bronze Mace, and they were definitely sympathetic to your plight and sympathetic certainly to the danger posed, but essentially their hands were tied. They couldn't go themselves. They couldn't spare any kind of official guard, but what they did say was, hey, actually, we think we might have someone else who might be interested in helping and able to help. And what they brought back was Yanis Varga, who is indeed the commander of the Verdant Wave Adventuring Guild. He has already kind of looked you guys up and down. He has extended a hand in, we'll say, partnership.
Kaskrin Brightmane extends his hand and gives Yanis a firm handshake. Yanis, it's a pleasure to meet you. I look forward to working with you. I know you've been informed of the situation. We have two of our companions, Checkers and... Checkers.
Oh,
yeah. It's been too long.
That's in character.
Yeah.
Val at this point will step up and put a hand on Kass, kind of like right the center, so her hand can't be seen, and cast guidance really quick, and then reach out and extend her hand and say, Yanis, Val, very nice to meet you, and I appreciate your help.
And cast inflict wounds.
Yeah. But he gives you both a firm handshake, and he nods at you both in turn.
Vibe check.
Yeah, absolutely. Roll me an insight check. What are you looking for kind of specifically?
I want to know if this man's an asshole. Like, is it going to be...
Do you think he's
that's
an
like
asshole?
that's like a DC 3.
Yeah, right.
I want to know, is he going to act...
Is he an asshole or is he just an elf?
Yeah.
Is he going to be a team player or have to quarterback everything?
Yep, absolutely. I love that question. And are you doing this like right from the jump where you're like, I want to see right now what kind of energy he's putting out so you guys can position yourself accordingly? Is that kind of the hope?
I'm going to just see how hard it is to make him work with us.
Got it.
And not make it so he thinks we work for him.
Yep. Give me an insight check.
19 on the die.
Wow. Nice.
Just for fun. Yeah. What's the total?
24.
So what happens is that you cast guidance on Kass. You see already Kass is like, well, he already forgot the names of his fellow guilders, first of all. And you step up, you give the handshake. He turns to you guys and he says like, all right, I've been briefed a little bit as to what's going on, only enough to get me here. And he points to Kass, tell me what's going on. And the way he's standing and the way he turned to Kass was very like, you tell me what's going on, and then I will decide what to do with that information.
Gotcha. So as Val gets that vibe check, she's shaking his hand kind of as she's vibe checking him. She's like, thank you so much for your assistance, Commander.
Ooh.
Kaskrin Brightmane and myself, Valeska Carter, will be briefing you of the situation as we move because time is of the essence.
Kaskrin's been pretty stiff this whole time. Like, he was about to just say like a very succinct report that he's given, thousands of times at this point to his commanding officers. He's like standing at attention, and he was about to go off about the Grung, about Self, about Checkers. And the second you put a reassuring hand on his back, it brings him back into this moment. Like Valeska said, time is of the essence. We should move.
And real quick, whenever Val stops talking and has a second, she's going to use Mind Link and just say to Kass, like, you got this.
Just pumping him up.
He's like taking internal deep breaths. It's this battle between trying to find himself and trying to fight against 30 years of conditioning.
Yeah.
How does Kass see himself in this sort of situation? Or like, not just how does he see himself, how does he want to be?
Kaskrin wishes that he could be in Yanis's position. He wishes that he could be the one basically providing the assistance and then leading the Verdant Wave and the Golden Tree into battle against the Grung. And he's trying very hard not to let Yanis see the hesitation
Yeah.
of talking to someone like him.
Yeah. Awesome.
And I feel like Val knows this enough about Kass and knows like he might snap back to, oh, I am a subordinate report. And Val doesn't want that to happen in this moment. So she's trying to like pump him up, give Kass guidance and be like, no, you've got this.
Yeah.
He's not your commander. This is your situation.
Can I also ask, why is Val taking kind of a particular interest in pumping Kaskarin up in this moment, especially when she's like, that guy sucks.
Yeah.
So
I don't like him.
Let's deal with this over here. Let's deal with Kaskarin.
Yeah. I think it's a little bit of this guy sucks.
Yeah.
I don't want to listen to him. She is not one to think, oh, because you carry the title of commander,
Yeah.
I will follow. She has a very different experience than Kass in this situation. And Kass is her friend, is her companion. She's automatically going to take Kass's side in any situation until proven otherwise.
Awesome.
And I feel like, I don't know, she's at least noticed this, but it's up to David if you would have shared your ambition to be in a commanding role.
I think it would have come up at least once or twice in the months of training that we've had together around the campfire. Like his goal of just being more than what he is and trying to take those first steps. Trying to step out of someone's shadow, trying to step out of listening to orders.
And Val's happy to like pump Kass up in this because honestly, for her, if Kass is the leader, she can go do the research. So.
She knows what kind of things that she can pull with Kass, basically.
Someone else can deal with this. So Kaskarin takes one last look at Braynar and Granik and says, "Thank you for all your help," before turning back to Yanis and says, "Time is of the essence. We should move."
Awesome.
We have 3 primary objectives, and then starts going into what needs to be done.
Awesome.
Before we completely walk away, or is there anybody else going to help?
I was waiting to interject exactly that. So it took a little while for them to track down the Verdant Wave, and I figured that Kass was going to go around to anyone who's on watch. Are you or is anyone in your group willing to come with us? So I have 2 questions.
Okay.
First, I will ask you to roll d20, but not yet. Second, what does Kaskarin tell to people? How does he try to recruit people who are tired, who are maybe even asleep? Some of them are just farmers who have pitchforks, or are former town guard people who are just like, no, I'm moving and I'm starting a new life, or people with families or whatever. What does Kaskarin say to try and rally people to come?
This is something he actively has to think of. Like, he's almost writing a script in his head of what he's going to say to these people. And what comes out is, this is a moment when your friends and your family need you to protect them. They need you to stand against the encroaching darkness. There are very real threats tonight in this forest.
July 4th will no longer be just an American holiday.
And he says to them, I know you're tired. It's been a long night. But you have a chance to prove yourself. You can step up. Pick up your sword. Pick up your shield. And come with me.
Perfect. I love that. So, I'm going to have you roll whatever kind of charisma check that you think might be of use. Whatever tone and tenor you think is appropriate. You can roll your d20, and you can roll with Valeska's extra d4 of guidance as well.
Awesome. Kaskarin's going to try to persuade some of these townfolk. That is going to be a...
Nice guidance.
19.
Ooh. Damn.
The guidance was 4. Very nice.
Oh, that's just the die roll? Or is that with your persuasion bonus?
With a persuasion bonus. The total was 19.
Okay.
Roll me 2d6.
Ooh.
10.
Whoa.
Nice.
And your total was a 19?
Yes.
So
You find one other person.
no. So over the course of the couple minutes that you have, again, it takes a little while for Yanis to kind of be found, brought up, all that good stuff. You actually managed to get 13 people to come with you.
Wow.
Again, these, for the most part, there are a wide variety of different skill levels, abilities, whatever. You probably hear from a couple people like, hey, I'm not like a fightery type person, but we're willing to help. So just assume that they're all relatively
Sorry, is that 13 including Giannis or
No.
13 others?
13 just caravan people. And that does not include anyone from the Verdant Wave. So, we'll reshift reality just a little bit. And you've told Giannis, all right, hey, let's walk and talk. We're going. We'll tell you about it on the way. Here are kind of the strategic importances. Here's my ideas. Here's what I think we should do. And right as you're turning, you see this group of 13 people who stepped forward. That you talked to all of these people. Actually, maybe there was even one or two who you didn't talk to, who maybe just overheard you and decided that they wanted to step up and take part too. You see Giannis look over his shoulder, like he's looking at you, and you can tell is about to say something snappy in retort to you telling him what to do, but sees this group of people who wave out at you basically and said, yep, we're here. We're ready to go. Where do we need to go? And that kind of silences him. The 16 of you start walking into the forest, and after a couple of feet into the woods, sliding up to Giannis, you see two more individuals who are, you soon realize, two more Verdant Wave members. You see a female dwarf who is also covered in some essentially half-plate armor, but fairly heavily armored, has a totally shaved head, and in both hands has a huge two-handed like morning star where it has a big ball and spikes at the end.
That's awesome.
She's also wearing a pendant of some sort of religious significance. I see Sophie is saying, excuse me, I would like to, yep. I'll wait. We'll get you. This dwarf is kind of looking surly and looking around, ready for something. Lumbering behind this individual, you see a large reptilian creature who has a large shell on their back. They are a turtle.
Yes.
And for those of you both around the table and anyone who's listening, they are big turtle creatures. They're very large, very beefy. They're thick boys and gals. But this one seems even larger because it is wearing these long flowing robes. And it makes them almost look like a strange dome because of just their weird proportions. You see this creature is just lumbering behind this dwarf and catches up with you guys just with huge long strides. And you see in its hand, its kind of scaled reptilian pointed finger hand, it is holding a thick tome, and it has around its neck a pair of tiny reading glasses that are just dangling and kind of swaying back and forth as it is walking. Now, the last thing, Sophie, two things.
Yes.
It seemed like you maybe wanted to roll to see if you recognized what this religious heraldry was.
Yes.
But also, I would like to give you inspiration for your excellent role-playing during the last encounter.
Nice. Hey.
I get to use my new dice.
And it doesn't need to be on this roll. It can be whatever you want.
Ooh. No, I really want to know what this is.
Okay.
Ooh.
Yeah, I needed it.
Yes, you did.
19.
So, yes, you do actually know this. It's not a super widespread devotion, but is certainly common enough that you have no problem. Like, oh, yep, know that guy. And I have told you a little bit about it, but in the interest of having not Nathan's talk, what do you know, or do you even broach the subject with this individual, or what do you do? What do you do with that information?
I think it will depend if Kass and Giannis are still talking. Assuming they are, because Kass is explaining the situation that we're about to go into, Val will not try to start a conversation with this woman, but just note that the heraldry on her armor or her person is that of the Saint of the Morning Star. And be like, yes, she's the war domain. And then slowly have this realization of like, okay, yeah, getting followers to go into battle by stoking the flames of violence and almost inducing a bloodthirsty rage.
Yep.
That's a choice.
Yep.
And that is the type of person I'm dealing with, and that is good to know.
Correct.
I might just count how many healing potions I have right now.
Yep. It's very informative.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Tells you a few things about what this type of person is for certain. But yeah, so I'm imagining that Kaskarin and Giannis are kind of up front, and they may or may not be jockeying for who is taking a quarter-inch lead in front of the other.
We're just like bumping shoulders
Yeah.
back and forth.
Exactly.
I think Giannis can actually walk faster than Kaskrin, though.
Yeah.
So, like, just
I
a little
sucks.
bit.
I feel like I have to look up to him every time I talk to him, and that's infuriating.
Val will just cast Mind Link to Cass and be like, let him take the lead because then he'll get lost and look like a jackass.
That is true.
No,
He doesn't
after
actually.
you, yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't actually know where he's
Please,
going.
I insist.
That's true. So he's actually probably matching you. It is a very specific dynamic that I personally do not have the words for, but I feel like a lot of people might have the experience of someone who's like doesn't know where they're going, but still inexplicably is out in front.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of the vibe. But then I'm imagining kind of the three other guilders, Val included, of course, are in the row behind.
And Val will just have an ear to the back and make sure they look back occasionally, make sure everybody's not wandering off and getting lost. And she might even walk to the back to make sure everybody at least gets there safely.
Yeah, definitely. And again, just as a clarifier and to make sure we set the scene again, old, dense forest, you guys are no longer particularly stealthy. Even if you're trying to be stealthy, you are now a large group of people. And some of these people are just people and therefore not inherently stealthy in the woods. So you have no problem, keeping an eye on everyone, but you can also no problem hear what Giannis and Kaskrin are saying. You don't have to go into a blow by blow if you don't want to, but what are kind of the themes and what are the things that Kaskrin is kind of saying?
Yeah, so in laying out the details, he is making sure that, one, the people in the pen are taken care of, and two, that there's a high overlord sitting atop a rather large monstrous creature that also has to be taken care of. Third, unfortunately, none of the Grung can at least make it out of the perimeter to the caravan. They can't run farther into the woods and make it to where the other people are. So he's working with Vanis to plan out who's doing what and, who's taking which priority. And he's saying the people are the most important, but Yanis, there is the High Overlord that needs to be taken care of. I trust that you and your people can at least distract him while we save the people in the pen. If you need backup, we will do what we can to provide it, but our priority is making sure that those people can get out safely.
I guess, do we know anything about the Verdant Wave?
Would you like to roll me a history check?
Yes.
Ooh.
History, you said?
It's the best that I can't see what she rolled. She just immediately turned to me and went, nice. So hopefully it was a good one.
It was a 15 on the die, so for a total of 19.
Yes, indeed. So I'll keep it brief. So you don't know too much about the Verdant Wave. Well, I guess I'd like to ask, how much research do you think Val did on guilds historically? There's a certain kind of baseline knowledge that a lot of people would just they know what guilds are. They might know one or two that operated in their town. And then there's kind of a little bit higher level of research where you're like, yes, I have noted in the historic battles or the historic adventures or whatever that, this one showed up and that, and remembering that. And then there's like, I am into this as a historical subject and I know all about guilds. Where do you think Val falls in that?
I think Val falls in, she read the compendium on guilds in her research of the Golden Tree to see, what's this guild all about?
Yeah.
And then, got, at least, the tagline of a large number of guilds. And she's really trying to remember, okay, these guys, are they into helping or are they out for glory, in it for the money, branding? What is she's really just trying to remember their motivation for being a guild.
Absolutely. I love that. So, couple just very quick facts that you're kind of remembering off the top of your head. One, the Verdant Wave is a very old guild. Probably one of the older ones. I mean, it's one of those things where historical records are good, but one never knows exactly how good they were, especially pre them being officially collated. But they are known as a very, very old and storied guild. And they, in a way that the Golden Tree never was, were very limited in operations. They probably had, at max, 2 to 3 groups around the world at any time. They were a very specific group, and they were more or less helpful, but they were definitely much more pro-glory, pro-getting paid they're a little bit more mercenary
Okay.
than the Golden Tree historically was. But they are an extremely notable adventuring guild, and that they are here. There would be chatter amongst the guild scholars of like, ooh, the Verdant Wave is here. That's very interesting.
Mm-hmm. Val feeds us all this information to Kass via mind link.
Smart.
Awesome. Yep.
Nice.
He knows. He understands
To help your
now.
strategizing.
Yeah. So Yanis lets you deliver your thoughts, and he nods and he says, very interesting thoughts. I think there's a couple of good ideas in there, certainly. But I think the part of the plan that I liked the most was focusing on the High Overlord, and I think it would be a mistake to pay much, if any, attention to any of the captives. Doing so would put our lives and their lives at risk. And I think we should just focus on taking out as many Grung as possible and as quick an attack as possible. Try to shock and awe them, and think that would be the best course of action.
But if we just leave them there, some of the Grung could take the people and leave. And he's faltering a bit at this point. He knows that strategically having everyone rush the High Overlord would be the right choice, but he says, but someone has to take care of these people. They're not going to make it out on their own.
Val is just mind linking you like, you got this. We need to get those people out. You are right in this scenario.
You are free to have your people take the High Overlord if that's what you want.
I guess my point, son, is that...
Oh,
We all at the table just winced.
Yeah.
no, I'm trying to find like a fucking like catapult spell that I don't have so I can make him trip.
Smack at something. My point, son, is that, of course we want to get these people out. Of course we do. You seem like an experienced soldier, and therefore you must know that battles are won and lost in seconds. And spending any amount of time doing something that is not taking down our enemies would be a mistake. So, with that in mind, I, of course, will want to survey the situation once we get there, just to ensure that your briefing was correct. But we'll be going with my plan. We will split up, we will flank, and we will hit them all hard. And that is my order.
Kaskarin almost stumbles at this point, and before he even has a chance to rebut, the words, "Sir, yes, sir," come out of his lips from his years of conditioning. And he sees now Yanis is stepping in front of him. He sees the gleaming full plate in his back. And he is almost like biting back his words, having already subconsciously agreed.
No, I mean,
yeah, he's like,
Kass agreeing, A, I think is valid, but also B, doesn't mean Kass has to agree in a couple minutes, or it doesn't mean that everyone else in your party is going to agree. In the moment, I think it's valid for Kass to be like, well, yeah, sure, yeah, I mean, I guess so.
Val will catch up to Kass at this point and say, we'll make sure the stragglers don't get away. We'll save the people.
Kaskarin is walking behind now, and he's like, someone has to save them. They can't save themselves. And he's like almost mind leaking to...
You definitely have the ability to respond.
It's there. It's open if you want it.
He's mind leaking to Val and saying, when we get there, keep an eye on Yanis and keep an eye on any Grung that make it away from the High Overlord. If any of them head towards the pen or you see any of them running away, we have to stop them. That is our duty.
And you hear back to you with 100% sincerity. Sir, yes, sir.
And then they walk into the forest.
We interrupt this combat to bring you the mid-roll.
Hi, everyone. It's David, and I'm here with the whole group.
With everyone.
Yeah, we're here.
For the
Surprise.
mid-roll. Isn't that cool?
It's
We're all
the
here.
Reckless Stack crew.
Yeah, we're all here today. And we just wanted to say thank you so much for all of your generous support and for listening to us through, 5 episodes?
5 episodes.
Yeah, wow.
Guys,
Wow.
look at us go.
We're still
We
trucking
beat
along.
the average.
That's right. I'd be curious if there's like an average podcast length. Like, is it 3?
Is it really 3?
Really?
I was listening to Unlocking Us by Brene Brown, and she said the average podcast length is like 3 episodes, and then people give up.
Oh my God. That's somehow even sadder than the restaurant numbers, where like most restaurants close in 6 months or whatever.
I honestly
3
thought it was
episodes.
10. I thought it was like 10 was the average.
3 episodes that's like you could record 3 episodes in an afternoon.
Right.
But hey, we we've recorded more than that.
Yeah,
Right.
we're on the right end of the bell curve.
That's right.
so-
Now our reign will be eternal.
Yep.
Once you get past 3, you just keep going forever.
It's a hard wall.
That's how this works.
Everything's coming up Millhouse.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, we just wanted to say thanks, guys, for continuing to listen to us. We really appreciate all the wonderful support that you guys have given. For those of you who have not yet seen our content on Twitter, our Dungeon Master Nathan does a very fantastic job of keeping that up to date.
Some would say I'm on Twitter too much.
24/7. Yeah. If you haven't already, also check out the Instagram at Reckless Attack Pod, as well as our YouTube channel where we post all of our fun clips that we've done over the weeks.
If you want to see hell lobsters.
Yes.
Hell lobsters. You got your baby donkeys, your beautiful hoodies. Everything, and especially up through 5. Actually, I don't even know what our episode 5 clip is going to be. So you now, listener, may know even more than we do. And isn't that
have
exciting?
seen into the
You have the
future.
power.
Us talking to you from the future, from the past, from the future.
Yeah, exactly. And like David said, we've already gotten so much incredible support. We've always said that we had extremely achievable yet wonderful goals for us to be a success. It was, are we still having fun? So
Check.
far, yes. Cool.
Yes.
I look around nervously at everyone. right, guys?
Nervous laughter.
I
Had a great
suppose we
time.
could check that box.
Well, we'll
If
see.
I had to.
Again, we got 3 episodes in, so we're already better than average. So we wanted to have fun. We wanted at least some people to listen, right? Like a couple people we didn't know to listen. That has happened. We wanted to do something we were proud of and have a product that we were excited to put out into the world for all these strangers to listen to. And also the pipest of pipe dreams, the true sign that we have arrived.
The pinnacle.
The pinnacle.
Yes.
We're pretty much, we've done everything we needed to do. It was fan art, and we got our first fan art this week, and it's the most wonderful thing.
So good.
It's so good.
Thank you,
I love
Cassie.
it.
You know who you are. It's Countess Cassie on Twitter. She has already been one of our most loveliest followers, and she drew a highly suggestive nude flying grung coming in to do a slap upon the cell from episode 3.
Nude but tasteful.
It was a tasteful nude, as they say in the art world, and it's wonderful. It's all over our Twitter. Thank you again, Cassie. It was since you have posted it, not a day has gone by where one of us has not turned to the other and been like, so we got fan art. Isn't that cool? Isn't that the coolest thing?
Yeah.
So thank you, Cassie. Thank you for everyone else for all your support. It's been really wonderful.
And remember, you can also see it on our Twitter account at @reckless_attack.
That's right. So yes, check Cassie out on Twitter again, Countess Cassie. She is, as of this, which is October 2021, for all of you people in the future who are listening to this, I'm sure once we've hit, become a cultural milestone years down the line, she is releasing What Crooked Roots, a new supplement. Check it out. It is a folk horror encounter collection for D&D, and if those words strung together do not interest you, then I don't know what you're doing. Go check it out and buy it anyway. Thank you again, Cassie.
And now we send you back to our previously scheduled combat.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
After you guys walk for a period of time, you guys come back vaguely, because I don't remember exactly if you saw precisely where Checkers and Selv set up. Jonathan and Steve, what does this group, and you guys can probably even hear them from a little ways off, again, they're not the sneakiest
We
as a
have
large group of
2
people.
dwarves in heavy plate armor.
Right, exactly.
Two
You have
people in
you-
full
you
plate
have
and a dwarf in half.
a lot of plate. You have a lot of just normal folks traipsing through the forest, and they're trying their best, but their best is not adventurer best.
And Val
so-
probably has light because I don't think a lot of these guys have dark vision.
No, that's also probably true. So, what scene do we see?
So this is a very, very rare thing that is about to happen. But as a player, I am calling for a perception check from the people in the front. So Giannis,
The Guilders, basically.
yeah, yes, the Guilders.
I'll roll for the...
It's
Yeah, 20!
10.
That would be a total of 23.
Val is the only one who notices. Well, I don't know what your DC was going to be. I rolled very poorly.
Okay, it was in the 13 to 14 range is what I was looking for.
Only Val notices.
Ooh, okay.
And yeah, so again, Giannis is... I'll even say that now the Verdant Wave are now kind of talking amongst themselves, and you hear this deep growly voiced dwarf kind of nodding, adding some things. You hear a turtle speak. It says, "Yes, that seems prudent." And they're talking, and Kaskrin, you're lost in your own thoughts.
Right.
You know, you have a lot kind of weighing on you right now, a lot of stuff that you're trying to answer for yourself. And Val, you are the only one in this whole group who notices ...
So with a 24, yeah. So you don't see anything really different at first, but you hear it. And what you hear is kind of, I don't know if it's anything that Val would have actually experienced before this or knew about, but it is kind of a combination of the kind of huffing of a large animal and the hooting of an owl. And it seems very almost depressing. So it's kind of like this.
So what you've described is maybe the sick Triceratops sound from Jurassic Park?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I think.
Mhm. Yep.
That's the sound that hits you at first. And then as you get closer to where you had left Checkers and Selv, you actually see a large creature that is kind of bear-like with the head of an owl. And it is standing over a similar creature but is slightly smaller than it. You see a group of dead grung kind of scattered around. I forgot we said 3 to 5.
I think so. And to be clear, they are piles of what may once have been grung,
Oh.
I would imagine.
So little flashes of color, kind of neon color in the and a lot of red than you were more than you were expecting. And you see this creature is standing over the smaller one protectively. The smaller one is on the ground. You can see it breathing because you had a 24, and but it seems to be either unconscious or in some kind of distress. But all of that is secondary because the first thing you see when you come through is...
So this large owl, the bear creature is sort of hunched over the smaller owl bear, trying to protect it. But sitting on top of the large owl bear is a blue frog, just with 2 tufts of fur grasped in his hands. And he is just like, come on, that way, come on. And then he also, between things that you can hear, he also switches into like a growly bear kind of voice, almost like he's trying to communicate with the creature and just not getting any response. And you're like, come on, we gotta go. And he's trying to pull the owl bear towards the direction of the grung camp. And then he turns around and sees you seeing him. It's like, oh, hey Val. It's kind of busy here, but who's all these people?
You just see Val like jaw agape, like hanging with her ukulele, just like kind of like on the ground, like, and she's just slack jawed, like. And
again, I had one more thing with your 24. You do also see Selv, not where you had left him, but actually maneuvering his way around the camp. It looks like he's trying to get closer to the pen.
Okay. So many things happening in Val's mind right now.
So Val, we'll still say that this is not happening in real time necessarily, because you're just seeing all of this all at once and no one else has noticed yet.
I'm guessing she kind of realizes, like, I'm guessing like Giannis is kind of leading them in the wrong direction a little bit. And so she kind of like just naturally like veers off to where like we actually left you, and Cass, you're kind of like in stride with Giannis a little bit. And so Val sees this and just kind of like not breaking eye contact with Checkers, like points off to where Cass kept going. It's just like, come back. And I guess all Cass hears in his mind is just like, you need to see this.
Kaskrin looks over in the direction, in Val's direction, and then in the background just sees this like silhouette through the trees of this owl bear, and there's just this tiny little frog-like creature pulling on its fur, and it's like, it's mind-linking to Valeska. Is that Checkers?
Val's hand like falls to her side, no longer pointing at Cass, and just like, yeah. Selv is over there. Do I heal a bear? I think I heal a bear. And that's more Val talking to herself, but the spell is still going. Just like, what? What's happening?
Okay, so yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, do we want Val to go to? I know Val's gonna go there. Do we want the group to remain separate still, or do we want?
Oh
them...
no, Val is just stunned for like a minute. She's just processing everything. So she's not making a decision at this point. She's actually probably gonna mind link Checkers and be like, Checkers? There's a lot. What is that?
Yeah. So I'm going to take this back a little bit.
Yeah.
And Checkers is, again, pulling on this thing and trying to maneuver it back towards the Grung. But when he hears Val's voice in his head, he turns in the direction, because he might also notice the group coming in at this point. But he just kind of looks at you and just raises a hand and goes, "Oh, hi, Val.
Hi, Checkers.
A little busy right now, but how are you doing?" And he's like struggling, trying to pull this thing in a direction.
Really quick. So you've run ahead?
No, Val's literally like...
You're still mind linking. You're still
laid
mind linking.
eyes on Checker. Yeah. And she has to be pretty close for that.
Processing.
Yeah. But she's just like, she's kind of just standing still, like gathering information, asking questions.
Okay, go ahead.
And being like, what the... She's not approached. She's just chatting.
Yeah. Well, we found a couple of these owlbears, as these... presumably owlbears.
Browls.
Browls.
Done. Cannon.
As he's still struggling and just not making any progress. And he tells you, Val, that, there were a group of Grung that were still outside coming in, and these creatures were about to walk straight into an ambush. So Selv and I, we helped them out a little bit. But as you can see, things didn't quite turn out the way we wanted them to, and the smaller Browl is unconscious, presumably, and this larger mother owlbear is unresponsive to my attempts.
Your commands.
Yeah. So I've tried talking to it in both owl and bear, and I haven't gotten anything yet. So I don't know what's going on, but think about how cool it would be if we could take this thing and just ride it right into the Grung camp. Wouldn't that be cool?
That it would be an image in infamy.
Right?
Absolutely.
Kaskrin is like gesturing behind Yanis as he's like walking a foot ahead. He's like, Val, what is he doing? Get him out of there.
Yeah, what's the range on mind link?
20 feet. So she's pretty close.
Oh, okay.
But she's trying to be quiet is why she's doing it.
Totally. But so that means other people are probably, even if you went out just a little ahead or, again, you kind of went the right way, quote unquote, but they are pretty close. I'm going to have them all roll another perception check.
And Kaskrin's actually afraid at this point because we have described what Grung look like, but we have not identified that there are also friendly Grung.
So David, it's like you're reading my mind.
Yeah.
And I have a natural 20.
So it's like, do not let them see him.
Val's not helpful in that moment because, Nathan, I'm going to ask you to roll on something because
Sure.
I got really excited about it. I chatted David earlier. But so mind link response.
Yes.
When you're using mind link to speak telepathically to a creature, you can use your action to give that creature the ability to speak telepathically with you for 1 hour or until you end this effect as an action. To use this ability, the creature must be able to see you and must be within 20 feet.
Okay.
I'd like to try to mind link the mother Browl.
So it is telepathic. You give the ability to speak to you telepathically. So I think that is doable. But it would depend obviously on the intelligence of this particular creature as to how nuanced of a conversation it would be. But yeah, I would say go for it.
I just had this image of it standing up on its hind legs, putting on a pair of spectacles, and just looking at you.
Yeah.
As that's happening, as you are kind of processing this and have kind of started concocting this idea, Giannis notices the owlbear. And actually, all of the Verdant Wave does, but he whirled the best. And he holds up a hand to everyone and immediately points to his two fellow guild members who start slowly. Actually, the turtle starts walking slowly and leafing through.
You mean it's normal speed?
Well, fair. It's trying to be a little stealthy, I think. As stealthy as it can or needs to be.
I'm only
leafing through its book and walking towards Checkers.
I'm only just now realizing how similar Checkers looks to the High Overlord. If you only had the description of a grung riding a large creature,
Yes.
I can see how you would mistake this
Yep.
or situation.
Yep. And they have not gotten to the camp yet. And so they have no further context for any of this. They just see, small frog person riding a creature.
I think they told them color, though. There's
I think
But-
we just
But
no?
it is dark. They are using dark vision. Dark vision is black and white. They have no idea.
I would never have seen the color.
They are walking towards...
We only know it's him because he has a hat.
Right, because it's like, well, duh, that's Checkers. Of course it friggin' is Checkers.
Maybe the High Overlord killed me and stole my hat.
So how do you guys react?
And we do all know that Checkers does not have a French accent.
Yes. And Selv, you are not anywhere close, right?
Selv was sneaking his way around by the pen. His thought was that if the owl bears caused a distraction and drew more grung, then he might be able to get around and maybe get people out of the pen. So he was kind of moving that way.
How close are we actually to the camp now?
You guys were a little bit away. It is up to Jonathan and Steve how far away that they would want this to have happened. Because the encounter happened wherever you guys were set up camp, and I don't remember the specifics of that, but I assumed that you were far enough away that there was no real... You could keep an eye on things, but there was no real danger of...
You had said that we were far enough that a fight or a small skirmish at least would not probably wake up anybody that was sleeping in the camp.
Exactly. So whatever that
arbitrary distance.
Correct.
I'm imagining it's probably closer. It's probably like 80 to 100 feet, maybe the closest guard might be.
Yeah, I think that's reasonable.
And then Val, you saw Selv because there are lights around the camp. I think we there were small fires.
There are several fires. There's a couple of kind of lookout torches, that kind of stuff.
So there's like this little like flash of silver or white, and you saw like you follow that up, and there's a head.
Yeah.
Okay, so Kaskrin and Val, how do you react to this turtle definitely going over to try and, we will say, subdue Checkers?
Val will run to it and try to intervene unless Kass beats her to it.
Kaskrin is straight up panicking at this point because he does not want them to go after Checkers and the Browl.
You don't want them to try and go kill your fellow guildmate?
Exactly.
Wow.
So he's
Interesting
actually
character development.
thinking of casting catapult and seeing if he can fling a rock in the direction of the camp to try to make some noise.
Oh no.
That is an order of chaos.
Plan.
He again is panicking. He's like, they're gonna close in on him and they're gonna like
Val is just running towards the turtle and he's probably close-ish to Giannis and just start kind of like again whisper yelling, be like, no, this is our ally, this is Checkers, do not kill this grung.
I'm debating if I want to make this situation worse.
Oh, God.
Because when Checkers sort of realizes, oh, hey, I kind of look like the High Overlord. He might be like, oh, hey, Val, it is me, Checkers, the High Overlord. No! When Checkers does that and Giannis, I can see Giannis, perk up and he, takes his other hand and points towards the dwarf to get in position.
Yeah, this is all happening.
Kaskrin is just
boom,
he
boom,
loses it. He grabs something out in the distance and basically you hear 60 feet away in the direction of the camp just this loud crack as something smacks against the trees, and it is unmistakable.
Okay, so a bunch of things happen. First of all, I would like to rewind, not even rewind, I would like to take note that Checkers had a brilliant character moment of doing this fun jape, but as far as you guys were concerned, Checkers just started speaking in a French accent for no reason, because he was the only one who understood these grung, and so he just decided, as far as you guys know, Checkers just is doing whatever our world's equivalent of a French accent is at you, and that was his as an actor choice to do that as representative of the High Overlord. Okay, so Val, you take off and you have a skidding, anime, hands up, stop right in front of the turtle, who is startled and successfully, at least paused for a moment. And then you all hear this crack of wood from a distance. and everyone spins around. Yanis hisses at everyone to take cover. You see the turtle immediately shoots down into its shell, only with its head poking up, scanning the area. You see all of the caravan people all immediately fall to the ground and panic. And you see the other Verdant Wave member crouch down into, holding its two-handed morning star, like looking around wildly. You hear some commotion down at the camp. Selv, you being close-ish to the camp, you, and only you, because no one else is close enough, see a number of Grung wake up, and there's a lot of croaking and chittering and what have you. Not all of them, but a good number. And then, a guard who is kind of towards that direction, which is kind of in the direction that you guys are, motions to a number of them to get up and to follow slightly into the woods. And that's what you see. But it takes a little bit to kind of get everyone awake organized. But some of them are even grabbing monsters and animals and mortals that they are next to and are clearly gathering to do something. You are the only one with that information. You don't know what happened with the rest of the group. You definitely heard the crack, but that's really all you know, other than you know that you have left checkers behind.
That was your first mistake.
What do you do?
I guess, how far did I get? How close am I to that pen?
I would say, the pen is not all the way on the outside of the camp or whatever, but you would have had plenty of time to be in whatever part of this outside rim of the camp that you would want to be without any problem.
So when the large crack of wood happens, is there a Grung currently inside the pen?
Yeah, there's I think 2 or 3 Grung. I'll just say it's 2 who are just going around. It's literally just tapping on the forehead, holding it there for a couple seconds, and then moving on to the next one.
They whip around, I'm assuming, and look at where the sound came from.
Yes,
essentially putting their backs to me.
Absolutely.
Okay. In that case, what I would do is use that, and if I can jump the pen and just go in and see if I can just knock them out real quick.
This is really escalated. Hey, you remember how I started this session being
choose your own adventure.
Let's see what happens. I have a couple ideas of what might happen, but let's find. No, none of this was on the list.
I guess I will. Is anybody on the other side of the pen, by me, alerted? Are there other Grung that are getting ready? Because I don't want to run past a whole bunch of Grung just to attack the 2 that are in the pen and then have to turn around and face 15 others.
Yeah. So a couple of things. So first, no. I'm going to say that this is on enough of the other side of the camp. It didn't wake up everybody. It definitely caught the attention of the guard who was closest to it, and probably a couple other ones, and he's kind of shouting and waking up the ones who are nearest to him.
Okay.
So there would be anyone who's on this side other than the 2 guard/handlers of the pen are asleep. But you would also know that they are still being actively dosed with poison, and that the prisoners might suffer the same reaction.
So they might get knocked out.
Exactly.
Okay. In that case, I'm going
to go 1v1. The High Overlord.
Yes. I'm going to hold off and stay hidden and see how many get drawn that direction.
Okay.
My overall plan is if they start moving that way, I'm going to try to pick them off from behind one at a time, kind of as they go. So when they actually get to everybody else, there's only 2 or 3 of them.
Nice.
And then there's me behind them.
The only thing I want is to whisper to the turtle, the Grung with a kilt and a hat is an ally.
It's me, the High Overlord.
He is not. He is an ass and he is lying.
He is a great many things, but he is not the High Overlord.
He is not the High Overlord. He's trying to be funny and he's real bad timing.
He's a real asshole.
So Kaskrin has been in this panic and has made a noise and is now just overcome with a sense of dread of what he's done. He sees, he hears the crack in the far woods, and then a moment of silence as Checker is just and then in the distance he sees the trees starting to shake as the Grung are mobilizing in this direction.
He takes a shaking hand on his maul and yells to the rest of the group, "Stick to the plan! Stick to the plan!" So, as Checkers is just like actively like saying, "Oh, that's me, the High Overlord," he also hears the sounds of Grung sort of approaching from the camp and things happening, and he just gets so excited because after an hour of sitting around and waiting and listening to Selv talk about contentment
And chess.
he wants to do nothing more than just charge in there on the giant owlbear that he's riding. All right, let's do this, Kaskrin. Hi-ho, Overlord.
I think those are the perfect last words for anyone to say in character for this whole campaign, as you're all about to die when we come back next week on Reckless Attack. Thank you for listening, everyone. We'll see you next time.
Checkers!
I didn't set up
This
this situation. I had nothing to do with
I
this.
regret everything. All of my choices leading up to this.
I was just trying to heal a baby owl bear. That's all it was. If you love Reckless Attack, you'll love the people who helped us make it possible.
Our logo artist, Maggie Pearson, character artist, Borg Cinnabon, and our website designer, Donnie Chung, put together all the visuals you see for our podcast.
We have some fantastic music, too. Our opening and closing theme was written by Chicago-based composer Megan Carnes. We also used the works of Kevin MacLeod and Michael Gelfie for our background music and appreciate all the wonderful content they've put on the internet. You can find all of their social media links and more info about them on our website, recklessattack.com. See y'all next time.